got back to testing in research again, and we were doing a lot of standing and everything else like that. But there's a couple things that I want to talk about that got nothing to do with that. When they inserted a different trial on top of the already existing trial that already had another trial on top of it, we got back to what we had started to make progress on some 2 months ago. And sure as shit shooting, just like I thought. Even though they were trying to stimulate my blood pressure up and out of the pass out mode, I shit the bed like a fucking savage. Never stood a chance. The longest I stood up today, and you gotta understand, it's not just standing up, it's a little more involved. That's why I would really love to take video, but I cannot. I think the longest I stood up for was like 4 minutes before I had to sit down because my blood pressure was crashing. But I believe I hit an all-time low today of 50/30, and that's after they revived me. And when I got, hey, you alright? Smack, smack, smack. I was like, yeah, I'm good, man. Story for another day. There's a couple things. First thing, don't get silly now, but even still, how badass do these look? These are my new t-shirts. Took me a couple minutes to design it. It's not that difficult. How badass are these things? I think they came out great. I always know I'm tired when my hands don't work. This left hand ain't doing shit. Right hand's barely keeping pace. But this is what we got. I like the color. I like the way it is, and I like the fact that I can put this thing on damn near any color shirt and still have it look badass. We'll work on these in a little bit and figure out who and where they are going to. I'm keeping a couple. I'm going to give a couple to the missus. She'll give a couple to the fucking knuckleheads, and so on and so forth down the line. However, I ran into a situation this week. It's not that I wasn't aware of things of this nature happening, because we all have to be conscious of what we're doing, where we are in space, no matter where that is, what we're doing as far as keeping ourselves safe. Obviously, I've told you about it a bazillion times. I'm a huge advocate of my fucking seatbelt, because for the most part I'm pretty much always moving, and if you're always moving and if you're always doing shit, you're gonna drop shit. And when you drop things, you then in turn have to pick them up. But that's, I believe, was one of many actions that actually brought me to a situation where, I don't know if you can see from there, but there's an area in your hip right here, pretty much from your sides to your back and everything else. For the most part, if you are been injured, and you're trying to make sure that you, your skin, and all the rest of that shit stay nice and healthy and shit like that. What's up, boss? El Naboro. Shane's a good man. Trying to keep yourself and your skin healthy so you don't have any skin breakdown. When you are dealing with full-blown paralysis, not only the lack of movement, but the lack of sensation. I have full fucking sensation right up to my hips. And then 2 inches from my hips down my legs, full-blown sensation. As for this area right here, imagine if you're wearing a belt. Ain't nothing going on but the fucking rent. And because of that, I'm going with last Saturday. I was rolling on the floor, doing my thing and everything else like that. I got the fat ass back up on the chair. And one of the things when you're pulling yourself up on the chair, and imagine you got pants on, and it's going like this, has a tendency to want to pull your pants right off your fat ass. And so to prevent that, I wait a little bit, stick my hand down my pants, hold the top of my pants, or whatever the fuck I'm doing, so that when I get to a seated position, my pants are not hanging off my fucking ass. You know, I'm not walking to a fucking jail yard with my fucking pants halfway down my fucking legs, you know, letting anybody know that I like fucking getting fucked in the ass, because no, what you do with your free time, completely up to you, man. Seriously, I wish you the best, you know. You're hiding fucking cucumbers up your ass, you're awesome. You know, different strokes for different folks and shit like that. However, when I got myself up and in my chair, I pulled myself up really nice and high. And when I did that, I tightened my seatbelt up pretty good. I didn't really think about it because I knew it was tight. I wasn't absolutely certain exactly how tight. And I was wearing, and you often hear stories about little folds in your clothing and shit like that, or if you're sitting on something, you know, you gotta be cool with that shit. And for a while I gave it credence. Then I went, fuck all that, that doesn't apply to me at this point in time. Well, you know, nothing applies to you until it applies to you. I ended up with a motherfucking boo-boo, which is about 4 inches wide, or long, wide, about almost a ½ inch wide, of where the waistband on the underwear that I was wearing twisted. And I couldn't feel it because it was right in that fucking dead zone. And then when I fucking buckled up my seatbelt a little tighter, also I couldn't feel it because it was in that fucking dead zone. However, you'll notice when I'm buzzing around, I am always fucking with things. And what we ended up with is pretty much, fuck me, I don't know, whatever was punched up. But all he kept doing was going, little stud muffin, that kid works with me from time to time. Close the top, you stupid fuck. I gotta go for a second. I had to check something out. My neighbor left and he's got one of those tough guy Jeeps with the convertible tops, and he only put it down halfway. And I thought he was just driving away like a jerk off, but now he realized it. Good for him. But anyway, not only, it doesn't take a lot of pressure, and it doesn't, what the fuck is this? It doesn't take a lot of pressure, and it doesn't take a lot of time. Alright, gotten out of the shower, my body was still moist. I was on the floor and everything else like that, and it was a hot, humid day on Saturday. And basically what happened was, from that movement, back and forth, it cut right into me. I've already had it taken a look at by a super doctor and all the rest of that shit. But what I thought was for the weak, and those people that just didn't pay any attention, because believe it or not, whether you do or not, I don't care. But you know, why would you not? But even so, who gives a fuck? I found on Wednesday afternoon, when I had gone to research and we were doing blood pressure shit, that I had a fucking laceration. It wasn't truly a slice, but it was a wear, it was a shear. That, it's not cool. This is the type of innocent shit that will kill you. See this picture right here? This is actually right on my left hip right here. Now this is going to take about a week or so to fucking heal, but I heal pretty well. But it's still something that we have to concern ourselves with. You know, when you get situated, paying attention, open your motherfucking eyes. If you're gonna plop your fat ass somewhere, make it so there's not a fucking a nut, a bolt, a fucking block of wood, a fucking piece of whatever the fuck it is. Unless of course it's some happy, fluffy something or other, which normally I try to keep everything pretty fucking copacetic and, you know, safe and shit like that, and fucking nice and soft, so I don't end up with this problem. And I made it over 10 years without having this issue. Not that I haven't had other issues, but I've never had this issue. But I will say this to you, and I will say this to you with absolute certainty, this will never fucking happen again. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is Sean Peter McCartney, also known as the Angry Quad, signing off for now. I am waiting for some information from one of my boys up in that there British Columbia. Yep, been chitty-chatting with a goddamn Canadian. He's a good man. It's a video worth watching. Stay out of trouble. We'll figure out what we're doing with the shirts. Hey, you want one? You never know, I might even be generous. Fucking shipping costs more than the shirt.